I know that you've all been prepared for this, but I thought I'd just remind you just the same.
Can you handle that, Blondie?
Game over, man. Game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Touch pure evil.
I want to buy some radio ad time.
Well, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel and Vinnie.
We got Carmack in the back, and this is Invasion of the Potty Snatchers. Let's get to it, motherfuckers. Alright, Noel, we came back this time, and this time we're going to do a little bit of Child's Play with Don Mancini and the new Chucky TV series. And Noel, unlike the Abomination that came out as a couple of years ago, starring Mark Hamill and Aubrey Plaza, this one is definitely entrenched in the mythos, the legacy of the original 5 or 6 movies. I think it's 6 movies. And,
it has to be 6. That seems about right.
Yeah, I think Seed of Chucky. I think Seed was the 6th. I think, yeah, and so we're back in like the old continuity. It's actually done something, even though like this show, in my opinion, is a bit of a mess. But it did something that not many horror franchises are doing right now, and that is incorporating the existing continuity and not like abandoning it with a reboot or a new rehash or a new timeline, like in the guise of Candyman and Halloween and like fucking nearly every second fucking franchise you look at is just like, okay, we're just going to restart, we're just going to forget. I think Terminator did it as well. So like, hats off to Don Mancini, the original, like I think he came up with the original concept. I think Tom Holland directed the original Child's Play back in 1980 something, whatever. But like, I just think when you look at what a lot of horror franchises are doing at the moment, and they're just kind of putting the continuity or the storytelling to the wayside. I think it was, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is doing as well. Will Johnson was saying it on Talking Points that it's kind of disrespectful to a lot of other creators to say like what you did is like it doesn't exist anymore.
Daniel Harris doesn't exist in Halloween lore anymore. She's just literally like not just her, the woman who played the girl, all of it gone. So
Jamie Lloyd,
yeah. So yeah, no, I agree with that. But that it's another way that we have to remaster everything. There are no rules anymore because you just know that Friday the 13th is going to do it, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre are doing it, and Halloween has done it. And this, I think, we took a brave step, incorporating everything, the good and the bad, the stuff that people were furious over, like the Seed of Chucky and whatnot. People are saying, "Fuck it, you know what? We own it." Because I was surprised when he brought up, "I have a son." He's gender fluid. And you were okay with that? I'm not a monster, you know.
I thought Brad Dourif coming back to voice Chucky instead of Mark Hamill reprising his role from the Child's Play. I just don't understand, especially when you have a voice acting role and you have an actor that can still speak, that you want like so iconically attached.
Yeah,
to
he's
the
not
role.
as young as he was, but he's still apparently formulating sentences.
Yeah, pretty well. He just did like a 7-episode run on Sci-Fi. But what did you think of like Charles Lee Ray, like this iteration of him in comparison to Mark Hamill's iteration of the Chucky character in the Child's Play reboot?
I thought, this had more of a pantomime feel than a dark feel.
Yeah.
So
like
straight away off.
Movies.
Yeah, straight like later Chucky movies is right. The early Chucky movies were very, very intense. Like Chucky, Child's Play 2 was my favourite of them by far. And I remember I seen it when I was very, like, probably arguably too young, but I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And this didn't have that. So once you accept that early on, it's going to be a smoother ride. If you're going in there and kind of going, right, I'm looking for the magic of the first 2 films, then you are just going to be sorely disappointed. And that's, you get the sense of that very, very early on.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I suppose once I left that expectation at the door, I was able to enjoy it for what it was, but I wasn't like foaming at the mouth. But I laughed a few times. There was a couple of creative kills, which I always enjoy, practical kills as well. And I know you had more bugs with it than I did. I thought it was stupid, but I think I just accepted that pretty early on. Yeah. And it was, again,
I love the Child's Play franchise. Like, I grew up with it. It's it was a horror that you could watch whilst you were young that could scare you, but it wasn't ridiculously gory or violent or abhorrent that your parents would stray you away from it. So it was a franchise that I got to know quicker than just say, like, Halloween. I knew early, thanks to my late brother William. He showed me a lot of really awesome horror movies when I was a kid, and Halloween in particular, Child's Play, and he kind of showed and he kind of monitored the stuff that was scary but not gory, so like Jaws and stuff like that, like, so that's why they're some of my favorite movies. So I just think the earlier Child's Play movies, even though they were a bit silly, that they never kind of downplayed the threat that Chucky is. And like, even though like 9 times out of 10 a big dude would kick the fuck out of Chucky, I don't care how hard he comes at you, you know.
It's that you pick Chucky up and you don't realise what you're holding in your hand.
Is exactly, yeah.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of like if in Toy Story, it's like when the toys just go limp every time Andy walks in the room. That like when you pick up Woody, if he was a psychopathic killer and he could slit your throat without you even knowing.
Exactly.
That's the fear of Chucky. Unless you know Chucky is Chucky, then he's completely threatening to you because of the lack of knowledge.
And that was it. They always did that great. They subverted. It was always the child is saying just crazy things. Children have imaginations.
Yeah.
Because it's always a dog or a very young child that knows about the ghost in the house first. That's a trope.
Yeah.
But,
I didn't do it. Chucky did. That kind of thing.
I didn't do it. Chucky did. Yeah. The poltergeist and stuff like that. They're here and all this kind of stuff.
They're here.
This one decided to just go a little bit more like, I don't know, balls to the wall. You know, get the deck count up, like, you know, the cinema scene. We never had something like that in Chucky, where it was like wholesale murder. It was always like 1 or 2 kills here and there. And Chucky was one of the few. What I liked about this that I think it got right is that Chucky is a bit like Freddy, as Chucky has fun with his work. Unlike Leatherface, you know, Voorhees, Myers, the list goes on. They're all like, you know, Pinhead, whatever. They're all got different motivations, if any motivation. But Chucky has fun. And I think this Chucky was having fun, which definitely gave me the nostalgia. The feel of it was all over the place, but that much gave me the nostalgia. Yeah, that's what got me through it. I really think.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I always liked about Chucky. So when you compared him to Freddy Krueger there, that he does have fun when he's killing people. Like he's a proper psychopath. Like even though he's wrapped up in this little 2.5 foot, 3 foot tall plastic doll or rubber doll or whatever, he's still an absolute psychopath. Like he is a proper threat and a proper danger. And that's what I loved about the original movies, that because he's so disarming because of his physical appearance, that he can get close and he can kill you, like, you know what I mean? But when he's normally killing people, he toys with them, he fucks with them, and like he normally goes for the most sadistic way of killing people possible. You know, he's like, he is a proper serial killer, like, you know what I mean? The Charles Lee Ray of him, you know, the Charles Lee Ray that is contained within the doll. But like one thing you have to say,
laugh.
Of course, like it's funny that you used that word, because it was like one thing you was going to say about Chucky is that like when you line him up alongside a Hellface, it's been a long week already. Ghostface, you line him up with a Pinhead, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, the real OGs, like a Leatherface. That like he is every bit as recognizable as a villain, as a character, as any horror villain that's ever existed in history. And that in itself, considering he's just a doll, and none have been able to replicate it. None have been able to replicate it to the same extent. Not even close.
I can't even think anyone that's even tried. Like, I know we have haunted dolls as a big thing, but just
Stuart Gordon did dolls back in the 80s.
Yeah, and there's Puppet Masters as well. Which is actually a decent series, but no,
at the start, isn't it? It veers off like a motherfucker as it goes along.
Oh, and then a lot of made-for-TV movies that just aren't even worth your time.
And it's really weird because there's actually a separate movie altogether called The Puppet Master, and it's about aliens, like kind of like pod people that I watched recently. Yeah, I was like, oh, where's the puppets? I was like, weird. I was like, I don't remember this at all, you know. But I'll send you a link. It's like a totally different movie altogether. It's called Dead Puppet Master, and it's kind of like pod people.
You think that this Chucky series? Do you think it was just trying to like tip its cap to every facet of the series? Because you did see in the totality of it, we had Fiona Dorff's, whatever her character's name is, it escapes me at the minute, who was in the very last Chucky. And
she's Nancy or something. Is that her name?
She's Nancy. Yeah. Real life daughter of Dorff, the actual voice of Chucky. Nika Pierce.
Nika Pierce, so close. I was way off.
Yeah. Then you had, of course, Jennifer Tilly reprising her role, which I have, and I love the fact that she's actually
Jennifer Tilly.
So I think they had a lot of fun. Christine Elise, who was Kyle in Child's Play 2, kind of reprising her role. So they
Andy even came back.
And he even came back. He didn't keep up the acting classes, but he came back.
Man, the acting is atrocious in this fucking show.
I thought you were going to quit. There's also a scene where she's going to get some cigarettes or something.
No chemistry.
I thought you were going to quit. She said, I don't know, I'll quit when this is all over. He was going, well, will it ever be over? And I was like, okay, it's good to see you back, Andy. you did not keep up the acting, man.
To me, it screamed of a TV show that spent most of its budget on the special effects. And the casting.
I think that's probably fair.
Yeah.
If you were to break it down into its compartments, like we always talk about what's in front of the camera. If you were to break it down into its compartments, the audio visual was excellent.
Yeah.
They got the sounds right. There was a lot of viscera stabbings. Like
Chucky's movement was quite fluid, considering.
Yeah. I even seen there when I was looking through the IMDb that they had obviously a very young boy, but you did know there was scenes where there was just clearly like, you could see Chucky from behind, and they were just using the kid and stuff like that. So practical, and then you'd have Chucky, and you had loads of Chucky dolls, and they were all like talking amongst themselves and laughing. So like that side of it, absolutely 5 stars. I have no complaints, zero complaints. How could I? Like if you were just somebody who shows up and does the animatronics, you have done your job to the nth degree. You have done it flawlessly. You cannot control how the storytelling narrative is used, or how the kill scenes are used, or how the dialogue. That's not your job. So they have done a spectacular job, and I love practical effects. And that's one thing that me and you are definitely in tune with each other with. We love a good practical effect.
Yeah, no, like puppetry, especially to portray in a convincing manner, is so difficult. Like, so difficult. It's always been the case. That's why oftentimes when puppetry is used to a large scale, that the entire cast is made into puppets. It's very rare that you have live action paired with puppets, because it's so hard. Very rare. Like like how many times will you see a Muppets Christmas Carol? Like Muppets and Sesame Street are probably the kind of the fore-bearers in terms of having puppetry combined with live action casting.
Oh yeah,
and because it's so hard.
It's a strange thing to say, because Chucky is just a darkened version of what came before it. It just took something that's usually quite innocent and innocuous and made it dark. And horror does that with loads of things. But
exactly, like kids, old people, dogs, whatever, pets. Yeah, makes things that are supposed to have the most obvious veneer of safety make them dangerous to their core, or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why we always say kids and old people creep you out the most in horror, because something that in your mindset is so inherently safe or so non-threatening to immediately become threatening gives you this fucking weird kind of frenzied contrast in your mind, because you don't know how to kind of what's the word I'm looking for, kind of compute it or something. Because like he's like, oh, dolls after me, like, it's like, why is like if you're afraid of something that's so obviously non-threatening in its fucking appearance, a 3-foot doll that weighs about 9 pounds,
a very petite female.
Yeah, exactly.
Just anything that isn't a big, strong dude that looks like you could tear you in half, like a phone book or something,
Yeah.
So and I mean, you take that to a really, really far degree when you have a 5-ounce doll.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I think that, like, shit, what were we talking about?
You were talking about the animatronics.
Yeah, the animatronics.
Then we just went on,
yeah, no, like, so, like, I thought, like, in terms of the animatronics, though, like, and the way they conveyed the threat of Chucky, and the way they moved them around the set and interacted with the live action cast, I thought it was credibly successful. Just the problem is, every scene that doll was in, he had the most acting ability of everybody that was in the scene.
I think that is too. I'm going to have to stop you there and say that is both an excellent burn and an excellent observation. Yeah, there was like, I mean, I think Jennifer Tilly, who I forgave, I think she was just having fun with it.
Jennifer Tilly is,
she was being very meta, you know what I mean? Like, she was Jennifer Tilly being Jennifer Tilly, who's actually just a serial killer version of Jennifer Tilly, and she was just having fun with it. Fiona Dourif would get a pass. Like, she was her as Chucky with the laugh and stuff. I quite liked. The kids, I was kind of hoping that they would.
That was her father, though. That was her father's voice played over her. She was just lip syncing.
Was that her father? I knew it probably was, but it was her father's laugh. I thought maybe the daughter had inherited the laugh.
No, I think it was just. I thought the flashbacks were completely cringe, to use parlance of our times. I thought they were very poorly done. I thought the still shots of Fiona Dourif as Charles Lee Ray looked far more impressive than the live action shots. I could see a mile away that it was a dude, you know what I mean? Or sorry, a girl playing a dude. like a mile away. It was not convincing whatsoever. I would have
Yeah.
preferred if they'd have just brought in Brad Dourif and then fucking just de-aged him or something.
Oh, but sure, look at the young Jennifer Tilly. That's not Jennifer Tilly. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to be 1979. It's supposed to be 1981. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 30, nearly 40 years ago. Maybe 40 years ago, and they get in people who do not look at all. I mean, that's something you forgive in films. I mean, you try to get an approximation, do your best with it, and move on. So I think they overcomplicated something that didn't need to be so complicated. Even the de-aging, that's an entire process. It's quite costly. Just get a dude with the kind of similar features. He looks like him. Put him in the jacket. Give him the long hair. Put a bit of makeup on to contour his face and just go for it. Because that's what they did with Jennifer Tilly, and nobody's complaining about that.
Yeah, I just think like
young
when
Jennifer Tilly.
When just something you
Tiffany,
used to say
sorry.
was, just someone used to say before was, it's all about getting them to convince you to suspend your disbelief. And when you're watching a moment like that, even though that woman does not look like a young Jennifer Tilly, right? She doesn't.
Tiffany, we keep saying Jennifer Tilly, but like,
but a young Tiffany or whatever the fuck. But she doesn't look like so. She's supposed to be a different person than Jennifer Tilly.
No, the Tiffany doll ends up putting her soul into Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, so she is actually a completely different person in the flashback.
Yeah, at this point she's Tiffany Valentine. Yeah, so I suppose it's even more. Yes, I think it didn't actually matter, didn't it? That's so you would be away with it more because of that kind of one.
That just dawned on me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but you didn't. I didn't care about it, and I just wanted a young Charles Lee Ray actually out doing his thing. I tell you one scene I did like. I did like the child Charlie Lee Ray when his father was killed by a serial killer, and he hides in the closet with his mother.
Yeah,
he kills her, and the serial killer is so impressed that he just gives him the piece of advice, always cover your tracks.
Yeah.
And gives him back his knife that he used to kill his own mother, and he just fucks off. And the kid, I thought that was cool. I thought that was an actual cool scene. I'd stand over it. I like two scenes in this that I defend. One, you just laughed at, you didn't think so, but I thought when Chucky gets up on stage and does a ventriloquist act, I thought that was a good way to just have Chucky talk to a room full of people and have none of them know. I thought that was fucking cool. Like,
that's done to death, though. Evil Dawn.
Oh, yeah. No, they didn't reinvent the wheel with any of this, man. None of this reinvented the wheel. I just enjoyed the scene.
Yeah. I just thought, to me, that screamed of Slappy from Goosebumps or something.
Yeah, Slappy from Goosebumps is a good. I tell you this though, we're nearly 50. I don't know how many minutes we've been talking about this. We haven't even mentioned any of the kids, and I think that's probably tells you everything you need to know.
17 minutes in, and the kids are the most unforgettable thing about the movie.
But they eat up 60-70% of the screen. Just the four of them, three of them. Yeah, just three of them basically. There's
entourage.
And then there's a fourth kid, the cousin. Who's in it quite a bit, but essentially there's three main.
The main character, what was his name?
Yeah, Jake Wheeler and Devin Evans and Lexi. And then you have Junior. Junior's in it quite a lot, and there's a very young girl.
Oh, Logan. Junior is Logan, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Oh, yeah.
The father's name's Logan.
His father's also Logan. Yeah,
played by Devin. So yeah, isn't it? The
like if their script sheets would have a lot more highlighter ink in it than anybody else's, man. They were in all of it. It was Jake that has the first interaction with Noel and Chucky, and then Lexi is the bully, and she's in it over and over and over.
I'm just going.
We never talked about them
because they're not compelling characters whatsoever. The thing is, but
is that their fault?
Yes.
Is this the thing we talk about where there's you can only work with the script you're given, and it doesn't matter if you're Daniel Day-Lewis with a bad script?
No, well, Daniel Day-Lewis can make any bad script better because
I went nuclear and I regret it.
It's like if the best actor of all time, literally top 4, top 5 best actors of all time.
Oh no, easily top 3, if not top 1. He's an excellent shout for top 1.
Oh, definitely.
That's how good he is.
His body of work is so strong. But I just think it's a case of bad actors and bad script. I thought the script was utterly fucking first drafty. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like they were just fired out first drafts. Just get it done. I'm having fun with it. Instead of just saying okay, where are we going to literally, if someone goes to me, you got 7 TV episodes to tell this Chucky story, I'm like, okay, I'm going to delve into the doll. I won't be focusing on all these little angsty teens that literally it felt like One Tree Hill meets Child's Play or some bullshit. It felt like to me that it was trying to be ridiculously progressive and at the same time focusing on this utterly progressive storyline, like that screamed of forced progression, that it actually forgot about what made the story compelling and interesting.
You have to read in my notes for our next podcast, and I know what you did last summer. Because we're doing that in a few days, and I feel like you just lifted it.
This is like MDK presents Woke Hour.
Yeah.
But no, I just think like, you're like, okay, I want to bring my story into the 21st century, so you have to focus on 21st century things. I just don't think so. I just think when you have an evil doll, and all you need is someone for him to blame. So all you need is the evil doll to put his actions on, and you concentrate on one person, and like the one person being the main character that owns Chucky or that has Chucky in his possession, i.e. Jake or whatever his name was. So I just think, like, if you have a stronger character there and a stronger actor, because the little lad, no offense to him, he's obviously new, but he was trash. And but like, I just think if you have a stronger actor there in that role, and it's more convincing, because he's your backbone. So like that, you can say what you want about him being young or whatever.
You're talking about Jake.
Yeah.
Well, he's your Andy. I mean, he's
exactly.
your Andy. He's the corruptible. He's the corruptible innocent. It's all about him.
No,
at first, at very least.
What I was going to say is, you can say what you want about Jake's age, him being like a, I don't know, 13, 14-year-old kid or whatever. But look at Andy, as you just mentioned. Unfortunately, he didn't keep up with the acting classes because he's fucking he's shit. But like when he was a kid, he was so convincing.
I thought you were going to quit. That's the take.
All over.
That's the take. I felt it. That's the take. We're keeping that one. Yeah.
Well, I just thought,
I don't do two takes. Yeah.
I just thought when he was a kid, he was so much more convincing. That he'd seen.
He actually did have a doughy-eyed kind of innocence to him that I bought, and he did, like, I remember the teacher locking the Chucky doll in Chucky 2, my favourite Chucky death, and she locks the doll away, and like he's like screaming at her thunder, please, like, believe me, I'm telling you, that's Chucky, and Chucky comes out and beats her to death with a yardstick. Yeah, I always loved that scene, but again, it was just a kid that no one believed, and you felt frustrated for Andy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because so many lives would be saved, or Andy would be saved, if somebody would believe him. I didn't feel any of that.
Yeah. I just think
I was kind of hoping some of the main characters would be killed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the problem with modern horror, though. Like, you're rooting for the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, like back in the day when I was watching Friday the 13th, I was rooting for Jason after the second movie. You're just like, I don't care anymore. Like, you're just like, oh, I just want to see some cool kills. That's what I want to see, some titties and some cool kills. Friday the 13th, and they give me that every single time. Like, you know what I mean?
And like, guy's head boxed off him on the top of the building.
Julian,
I was into it. Yeah, Julian. I was into it, man. I was definitely into it.
But like, I was just thinking, like, wait, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, you're rooting for Nancy, and at the start, the first two movies, you're rooting for the final girl, and in Halloween, you're rooting for Laurie, you're rooting for Jamie and Rachel later on in the movies. I just think, like, with these movies, with Chucky, the problem is, if you're not rooting for the good guy, then the horror movie has failed, or the horror franchise or show, whatever, has failed massively. Like, if you look at a Scream, you want Neve Campbell Sidney to survive every movie. You want her story to continue, and that's something Scream's always done well. Like, you know, after 4 movies.
That's an excellent point. Because I always think it's a powerful statement when they do the dark thing. We talk about the ending in A Mist has been just an excellent ending.
Yeah.
The Thing, an absolutely awesome ending. Because we're not in the horror film for light-hearted story. That's us getting our, that's our getting our rocks off, watching something dark.
The Mist is very nihilistic anyway in its whole tone, like.
Yeah, but I actually didn't want. Like, I'm worried when the next Scream comes out that they actually will kill Nancy. For some reason, Nancy's this exception. I kind of want Nancy to make it. Sydney, excuse me. Nancy's Nightmare on Elm Street. But Sydney, I just want her to make it because she's made it so far. I don't know. I'm just rooting for her, and that's the thing. She's earned that over the space of a few decades and 4 outings,
and that's rare.
And that's rare, man. Everyone else will be like, "Okay, come on, like." Just
give me new blood. Let me see someone new.
Blood, yeah, absolutely.
But with Laurie Strode, with Sydney Prescott, like with Nancy, I can't remember Nancy's surname, but like with Nancy, like, you want them to survive. You want them to keep going. You want to see their continuous battle with Freddy. And the same with Andy in the original Child's Play. You want to see Andy's continuous battle with Chucky, him trying to save people. But when you get these new fucking things, you're just like, they're disposable characters. Is the best way to describe them. Like, we don't have iconic characters anymore. There's nobody in this. Like, if I would have preferred if this entire series had focused on Andy, even with his shitty acting, him compared to Jacob, or Jake, sorry, yeah. When him in comparison to to him, just his legacy character. And I just think like if he'd have been on the screen more, he probably would have gotten better throughout the season. You know, that kind of way. I just think like there's more.
Or if he had more focus, if somebody like I'd been working with him for 3 or 4 months, because this is the Andy show, man. We're bringing Andy back.
Yeah.
As a grown ass man, and now the hunter has become the hunted, and now you're after the Chucky dolls, and Charlie Ray has split his soul. I could have been behind all that. I really.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and then they just bogged us down with these fucking teenage kids. And again, I've seen it done right. This wasn't it done right.
I'm just like, what I'm kind of fed up with it is, I want to watch a horror movie. I don't need a civics lesson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Though, like, I don't need to hear about equality. Like, I'm completely for equality. I always quote Arthur Stiller, Jerry Stiller, Arthur from King of Queens. It's like, let the gays get married. They've got the same right to be as miserable as the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Actually,
I mean, if the closest thing I could say to homophobia is only let the gays get married. That's right. now the misery of it is only theirs.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think there's certain movies like you could to really examine that kind of thing. Brokeback Mountain. Is it Call Me by My Name or something like that with Timothée Chalamet, Michael Fassbender? There's all these.
What was the one with Patrick Swayze and a few other big name actors, and they played the drag queens?
2-1 Fu, Thank You Very Much or something, was it?
Oh yeah, that was actually a really good movie. But yeah, like I mean, I suppose I don't know, man. I don't want to complain as like a straight white dude. You get catered to absolutely all of the time, but like you said, it's not about. Because it's all absolutely fine. It's that there shouldn't be almost any civics lessons in it. Just get on with it.
I'm going to put it to you like this. Original Halloween, you can say all straight characters. Yeah?
Yeah.
Throughout that movie, the only thing that's alluded to is the fact that Laurie fancies a dude called Ben Tramer. That Anne is banging some other dude, and there's a couple of other dudes, a girl and another dude hooking up, right? That's not just shoved out. It's not the whole backbone of the narrative doesn't become about their relationships and their place in the world. It just should be
at all.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And like in the 21st century, like you can't keep saying that homosexuality is not accepted on a large scale, because it is though. Like, so constantly have these fucking narratives where you look at these situations negatively constantly. Like, when are we going to get a positive straight people operating alongside the homosexual people without us trying to kill them? Because that's everyday life most of the time. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Why are we?
Well, I suppose when you didn't have representation, now you do have representation. They're trying to correct the flaw and then by that way they kind of.
It's 2021, man. It's
I agree, but that's it. They're trying to put. But when I would say for a horror movie, you have X amount of minutes, and I don't care if that's 7 hour long, 52-minute long episodes. I know that's a lot of time, but you still have this much depth to get through. You have this much tension that you're trying to work in. You have this much story that you're trying to work in, and if you don't get the balance, and that's what people forget. And first off, an original concept, fantastic, brilliant. 9/10 of the law, if you can have it, I get it. But if you don't get the pacing right, then you're fucked. Then it doesn't matter. There's no such thing as a good horror movie that doesn't have good pacing.
Yeah, I just think
it's absolutely synonymous. And when you get bogged down in the civics of everything, like you just said, if you get bogged down in that, well, that's fine. You do that. Now you're eaten into the minutes with characters that I don't care. No, I don't care that he's gay. In fact, I don't care about him at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope he gets stabbed.
Yeah,
because he's boring me.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he was stabbed, he would go away.
Yeah.
You know
what I mean? I'd rather the way I look at it is like these movies. They try to paint this picture like homosexuals and people of colour are oppressed in the same way that they were in the 50s and 60s, which is clearly not the case. And
it's not the case, but in pockets it's the case.
Yeah, exactly. In pockets it's the case, but in wider society it's not the case. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I just think that when you get bogged down in something that's completely not the case, what we talked about with Candyman is that you're going to lose a load of the audience, because the media, they're going to be like, oh, a political agenda, once again, where's my kills? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
and this isn't like try to take it going into your political corner. If anything, I'd be very much so in the left political corner. But at the same time, that's not. I'm not here for a political conversation.
That's the thing.
I'm here because somebody says Candyman 5 times into a mirror, and now some good shit's going to happen, just like it did in 1992. Like,
let's not get bogged down
shit.
in Jake's relationship with his father. Let's use that time more wisely, and instead of having like fucking shitty flashbacks, really dig into the mythos of the fucking voodoo. The whole thing that like the whole like reason that Charles E. Ray is able to transport his soul into different beings and shit like this. Like, what's it called? Dumbella or something.
Dembella. Ade Dewey Dembella. And then Dembella turns out to be obviously the god or the deity. I didn't realise that. I always knew that expression, Ade Dewey Dembella, from the old films, but you seen one Chucky doll and he's like, do you dare defy the power of Dembella? And I was like, alright, so Dembella's the dude.
Yeah, he's like, how are you so strong? And he goes, you're no match for the power of Dembella or something.
That was it, yeah.
No, I just think, like, when you look at Scream, Scream 4 in particular, Scream 4 was a perfect modernisation of a slightly older horror franchise, where it encapsulated the tone of, like, talking about the homosexuality and all this thing, but it was ingrained so fluidly into the storyline. It was a part of the story and not just a distraction from the story. You know what I mean? So, like, I just
pacing.
think that,
goes back to pacing,
because they were like, oh yeah, he's gay or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the equivalent of being a straight dude. You just like other people that are the same sex, and they just moved on past it and just incorporate it into the story, and not just go, oh, this is what the story's all about. We have to talk about progression and this and that. I'm like, where's Chucky? Why isn't Chucky in here killing people all the time? Because like
there is even a fluid way. Do you ever see like in Scream and stuff like that? There'd be the kids hanging out by the fountain, and they can't believe that insert name of kid who has been murdered the night before is gone. And one guy puts his arms around a girl, and you realise, that the two of them must be together in some sort of format. Yeah, and that's fine. They don't have to bog down into how that came about. Yeah, they moved into it with,
or what
with
their
just
parents
visual.
think about the relationship.
Yeah, they moved into it with visual, and a lot of times somebody's just saying, like, a lot of times you can overlap. You can be getting on with it, and you can set up, and you could, like, one guy who you might have known was a gay character he can like hold the hands of somebody else and say, have a hug, have a kiss, say I'm scared, I hope I'm not next, and it's grand, it's all inside that tension, it's dealing with it, and it's there. But then it just says, like, why don't we just take Chucky out of the conversation for a second and let's talk about society? And you're like,
it's like, where's my kills?
Where's my kills? And that's it. No, to be fair, this all in all, after 7 episodes, you did get kills. You can't hold that against it. In the sense, like, it actually did, like, they did top up the numbers.
Yeah, no, I mean, they totted up the numbers near the end because they lacked kills.
Agreed.
It's heavy, what they call a backloading TV series. Because
backloading, is that the expression?
I know, it's like when you
It's a good word for it, though. No, it's a good word for it, though.
I think, that's what they call it, is where you backload something, is because you put everything at the end because it wasn't there at the beginning, so you're making up for it in the back end,
Like, oh shit, of course,
Yeah, no, but like, I just think this is a clearest case of wasted resources again. And it's a big shame because you actually have Don Mancini, who's so steeped in the Chucky lore, the Chucky franchise from the get-go, to have all these kills and modernize the character, yes, but he didn't do it in the correct way. He didn't focus on the right people. I think, like, having that young dude...
was his... Sorry to speak over you, but what was his job? Like, did he direct, write, produce?
Sure
was he
all of those
triple
things.
threat? All those things?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Well, then, I'm sorry, if it's somebody just, like, getting back to direct some episodes or something, it wouldn't be completely on his head, but if you did it all, then yes.
Yeah, I assume that the reason it's called Chucky because somebody else owns the rights to the word Child's Play, but because he originally created the character, I assume he owns the rights to Chucky.
Yeah, because Chucky is Charles Lee Ray's nickname. That's all there is to it. Like, whether you're a doll or a man, like, Yeah,
exactly. So I just think it's a wasted resource, this show. I'm actually looking forward to season 2 because Don Mancini is a clever filmmaker, and I think he'll look at the criticisms that the show has suffered from, and he'll readjust I think the animatronics is the strongest part about the show. The puppetry is
Easily.
really well done. I thought Chucky's face looked odd. To me, it looks kind of fatter than
I got
usual.
used to it. Yeah, I know he did, and they keep doing that. They keep changing Chucky. What if you look?
don't
And
understand
for
that
some
at all.
reason, anytime they change a mask or something, it never looks as good.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Pointless.
simplicity itself is what
Yeah.
is all we're asking for. But it grew on me. I wouldn't have a problem with the way Chucky looks by the 7th episode. I
Yeah,
was
it definitely
fine with
looked better to me in this iteration of Chucky than Child's Play with Mark Hamill doing the voice of Chucky or Buddy or whatever.
Yeah.
No, like, because I just think people think Mark Hamill's this world-class voice actor, and I don't know, he does the Joker voice a lot, is all I'm saying. He does the Joker voice a lot.
He did it for
Master of the Universe.
Skeletor in Masters of the Universe. It was his Joker voice, and he did it for Joker, which is just iconic.
Yeah.
You cannot at all take
And
it
he
away
did it
from him.
for
But
Chucky as
if you're-
well.
Yeah, like, I mean, if I was to talk about like great voice, somebody like Seth MacFarlane, who does like Kermit the Frog and Peter Griffin and all a few characters from American Dad and stuff like that. That guy can do shit with his voice.
Yeah,
Trey
Brian
Parker
Stewie.
can do stuff with his voice. Like, yeah.
But no, I just think the show itself, I think it'll be cool. I think it'll go and get probably a few more seasons before it runs out.
3.
Yeah,
If you want me to take a stab at it, I'm going to say 3.
if it was on Netflix, I think it would have been 1. Netflix
Yeah,
are the
one and
worst.
done.
The worst of the cancel people. But I just think it's a case of you bring back so many legacy characters, but yet you have the core of your story focus on very weak actors or very inexperienced actors to be a bit more like kind of less harsh on them. I just think it was the wrong idea. I think you have Andy, you have Jennifer Tilly, Brad Dourif is still alive. He wasn't in the show at all. It made no sense to me. His daughter's a good actor as well, but like,
She was the strongest. If there's going to be, like, she was the strongest actor.
I would have actually
If you
preferred
had to
the
pick
entire
one, it was
series.
Fiona Dorff.
Take out Jake altogether and have the entire series focused around Nika Price.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, 100%.
Although, as we know, I suppose like people can tell we're in the spoilers now. But at the end, she has her arms and legs cut off, so it's not like
that would have been an amazing way to end the series, end the season.
Yeah.
How do you come back from that? And you know what I mean, like. So that would have been fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like, how
That's
dark
the
would
last
that have
time we
been?
saw her. That was the case. She had her arms and legs cut off, and Jennifer Tilly was keeping her there, and there was a fucking dark ending that way. But no, she was the strongest actor. And Jennifer, actually, I just want Jennifer Tilly to do what Jennifer Tilly does. I'm fine
Jennifer
with it.
Tilly's
I like
fucking
the
awesome.
meta-ness. Jennifer Tilly is A, awesome, and B, like that self-awareness and that kind of like, she's kind of like making fun of Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, I just
You know what I mean? And that's what I love so much about it.
Yeah, I just think she's such a strong actor and so entertaining that, like, give me more of her. Give me, like, and same with
100%.
Fiona Dourif, like, give me more of her. Like, fucking give me Brad Dourif. Give me the really strong actors. Like look at the franchise, right? And the franchise doesn't have a shit ton of strong actors attached to it, but you got Fiona Dourif, who's Brad Dourif's daughter. You bring her in. You got Jennifer Tilly. So you concentrate your story on those three. You have Andy come back as your legacy legacy protagonist. You could have had Nika Price being blamed for all these murders, and he's trying to disprove that the fact that she's actually killing these people, that she's possessed. So you could have Andy trying to prove her case while she's trying to be on the run from the law while everyone thinks she's a serial killer. That's a way better story than what they gave us. And literally, because the way I look at a franchise, I would go in and I go, who's still alive? This is what I would do. Who's still alive and who's my strongest parts? And I go, you, and you. Okay, right, you're the new characters. Sorry, you're the focus of my story. And I'm going to bring in one new character for the future generation. That's what I'm going to do. And like, I wouldn't have used Jake. I would have got a really decent, strong actor. He doesn't have to be like a gay, straight, or whatever. He doesn't have to be pretty or ugly or whatever. Like, I think it doesn't have to be One Tree Hill. Like, just get a really strong young actor that can carry the franchise forward. Bring back all your legacy actors. And like, you could even have Nika Price having a son. And there's your future, and like pretty much Chucky. He got Chucky, and Chucky possessed her or some shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Of course,
like,
why not? Right? Yeah, why not?
You know, I just think like you get a really
It's like
strong
picking a football team. You know what I mean? Like, you literally just go, here's
your
my
strongest?
strongest team, and now I need to think outside the box, and here's somebody I think I'll use, a utility kind of character that I think I can use to forward. Forward the agenda,
It's like what they did with Halloween. They're like, okay, let's bring back our strongest parts. We can't get Paul Rudd, so obviously Tommy Doyle suffered massively for that. But you have Laurie Strode, So you bring back, you bring in fucking William Sadler to play the deputy, and you focus like, okay, Laura, Jamie Lee Curtis is our strongest actor, Judy Greer is our second strongest actor. I can't remember the dude that played her husband, and you have William Sadler, who's obviously every bit as good as any of them. So I think it's William. No, it's not William Sadler. But I'll check. The guy who played Chig from, or another guy from Armageddon. It's like his wife only likes him after he saves the world, fucking bitch. But no, I just think like that's what they did, and then they brought in Jamie Lee Curtis's granddaughter to be the new legacy character. You know what I mean? And that's why the first Halloween was so strong. Yeah. And the reason Halloween Kills suffered is because you had Tommy Doyle chewing up the scenery, Evil Dies Tonight, and then they strayed away from their strongest elements of their story in terms of their cast. And then you had a weaker film. And I think with Chucky is they had really strong elements of their cast, but they didn't focus on them heavily enough. And that's why the show in itself suffered, in my opinion. But do you have any final thoughts before you get the fuck out of here?
No, I don't. I think what you could hopefully, because you were talking about, from what you said, is that if he just looks at it and kind of goes, right, here's what's got right from the audiovisual side of things. Here's the strongest characters that we have, because it's all still very open-ended. Obviously, unlike a film, it doesn't wrap itself up. In fact, it's looking for its second season. So
multiple Chuckies at the end and so.
Multiple Chuckies at the end, and even a Tiff, at least one Tiffany doll. So it's very, very open-ended, and then kind of go, look, maybe we kind of expanded the universe a little bit too bit, or maybe again we went to One Tree Hill. Let's get to the mayhem.
Yeah,
let's get to the mayhem.
Less civics, more serial killing.
Less civics, more serial killing. I did not come here to learn anything.
Yeah, like if anything, I want criminal profiling. That's it.
Yeah, that's actually there you go. That I'm into. Yeah, because that's on topic. But absolutely, but that's it. I'm not here to learn anything.
I just want before we go, I just want to say like people need to start looking at slashers like they're serial killer profiling movies, and then you're going to have world class horror movies. If you give me a criminal profile, Nightmare on Elm Street, or a criminal profile Chucky, where you have a guy that's trying to figure out this case, someone else is being blamed like Anika Price, all these moving parts, and actually frame it like a detective story, and then you have the kills, that's way better than having this progressive woke angsty teen relationship bullshit. Will they, won't they, will they, won't they? Give me
just makes me want them all dead.
Yeah, exactly, that's the thing. Whereas I want a serial killer profiler slasher movie, because that's what I loved about Scream. They were trying to get into the head of the killer and trying to figure it out. And we got to see it a little bit from the cops' perspectives at the start in Scream 1. I love that kind of thing. You need to really start focusing on the people that are solving the case and the people that are doing the crimes and the people that are getting blamed for the crimes. And you're going to get far superior slasher movies, in my opinion.
Agreed. Right. Okay, we'll get the fuck out of here.
All right, cool. All right, folks. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Toohey.
And we got Carmack in the back. That was Invasion of the Potty Snatchers with fucking Chucky. See you next time, motherfuckers. Wanna play? You have to say peace, Noel. Jesus.
Peace.